studio tour. So this has been long overdue for a while now. Figure we finally talk about how the studio looks right now. We're here at Black Moon Recordings in Columbus, Ohio. It has gone through a lot of changes over the years. When you first walk down here, you're greeted by the amp. It says no drinks. Don't feed it any drinks. But if you want your drink for yourself, we have the mini fridge right here. The first door on your left, this is the isolation booth. Right now it's kind of holding on to a bunch of stands and whatnot, but usually we'll put guitar amps and anything that needs to be separated for recording sake. If we're doing live amps or anything like that, we need an isolated sound, we'll stick it in there and put mics on it. You move out into the lounge area. So we have our wall of knickknacks over here. It's just a few little bits and pieces that we've collected over the years, from sessions, from friends, just the adventures along the way. This is just kind of the chill area. Everybody kind of hangs out in. You can watch TV, and just kind of hang out. If we're in the middle of doing something and you kind of get bored, you can come out here, play Switch, do whatever you want. The high top, usually where we gather, eat, all that fun stuff, play some foosball. I don't know where the foosballs went, but they're in there somewhere. Fire extinguisher is very important in case some monkey business happens. I don't know how to use it, but when the time comes, we'll figure it out. Working our way back here, we've got the setup bench. Right now it's got a bunch of stuff on it, but usually this is where I set up all the guitars. This is where we tune drums, tune the guitars, make adjustments, all that stuff. I kind of keep, guitar strings and drumsticks and anything you need to get your instruments in check, ready to go in here. So right here, we've got Taco Cat. My friend Kenny and his band were playing a show in Cincinnati, and the artist Lace Creations was over there painting some stuff, and he had some paintings for sale, and my friends had bought this for the studio. And crazy enough, there was actually a photo next to it of Afro Man signing Taco Cat, and this was a few years ago, but now recently in the news he had come back up into relevance again, so it was really fun to have that in the story to tell. And of course with Taco Cat, we have to put the Studio Cat link down there. He'll forever be our Studio Cat. So moving on to the assortment of drums that I've collected, we'll start with the Pearl. This thing is the first real snare I bought back in 2020. This is the drum that taught me how to tune drums. I basically just tuned this thing up and down until I figured it out. My wife wanted a cow snare, so I made her one. She doesn't play drums, but neither do I, so it's okay. This right here is the Ludwig Acrolite. Is a 1967 I recently purchased. Came from a closed down music store in Sandusky, Ohio, and it was in its original case and had the books and everything. You might have seen it on Josh Dunn's Coldplay cover. It's one of the drums that he purchased recently. Really liked it so much. I liked it so much that I had to go find myself one. Took a while to find the one, but that is definitely the one. The Hollowman 14x8. This is a walnut oak. This is a drum. It's very special to me. When we first built this place, my wife and I wanted to kind of spruce up the drum room, pun intended, but instead we used walnut and oak. We had wood left over and it sat around for months and months and months. Lauren asked me to do something with it, and we decided to go get a drum made. So Hollowman was kind enough to take that wood in, dry it, treat it, and then turn it into a stave snare for us. The spec is supposed to be reminiscent of the Vinnie Paul snare, which is famously used on Paramore's Riot, and I wanted to match that while having some other features that I like die-cast hoops, as well as the DW mag throw-off. Moving on from that, we have an actual DW, which is the DW Edge snare. It is a 14x5.5, 6mm brass edge snare with a maple center. I found this at a local music store. That music store had it listed for way less money than they should have. And in true fashion, I bought it with the intention of selling it. And here it is still 4 years later. Next up, we have the Liquid Death SJC collab. This is a 14x6.5 snare. It is one of 31 that were ever made. It looks like brass, but it's actually aluminum shell that is brass coated. It has brass hardware as well as this really nice kind of see-through Liquid Death wrap. It looks really cool. It sounds really sick. It's made its way onto a lot of covers that we've done here, some recordings as well. It is a very easy drum to tune up, Shout out SJC. Next up is the Ludwig Superphonic. This was in my pursuit of completing the Ludwig Holy Trinity. I'll talk about that in a second. But this drum is a very special drum. They use the same shells that they use for the Acrolite, but in this case, this is a special edition called the Super Sweet. It was made for Sweetwater. Chuck from Sweetwater used to famously drive around in his van that was painted the same color as this for his mobile recording studio, which then, led to his endeavor with Sweetwater. Lastly, to round out my Ludwig Holy Trinity is the Black Beauty. This is the one that kind of started it for me. I felt as though every studio needs a Ludwig Black Beauty in their arsenal. This thing is the sound of black nickel over brass. It has made its way onto so many recordings here as well. And when I refer to the Ludwig Holy Trinity, I'm talking about the Black Beauty, the Superphonic, as well as the Acrolite. Down here, we've just got a couple little guys here. This is a really special one to me. This is Brian's snare. Doesn't really have a name besides that. It's just Brian's snare. It is an 8-lug Gretsch Catalina club with this nice, I don't even know how to describe it as. It almost looks like a glitter copper thing going on. The last snare on this rack is this one. This is Josh's signature popcorn snare. This thing's really cool. It does the sound very well. It's very rattly, as you can hear. But thing's loud and proud, and I like it. And then, of course, comes this very beautiful Ludwig stainless steel Bonham Zeppelin style kit. It is a reissue of the classic 70s. However, mine is spec'd out as 24, 13, 16 because I will not be playing at 26. This is the sound of Fool in the Rain and a lot of Bonzo's very famous songs. This thing is the definition of the rock sound, and I've been chasing after that sound for so long. When Ludwig announced that they were making this, I had to get my hands on one. Credit card be damned. Moving into the live room, this is kind of where most people spend their time. We've got, of course, the TV and the camera system. The TV lets people see where they're punching in, and the camera lets me see them. Earplugs for anybody that's in here in case they're tired of what they're hearing. And we've got the main kit that I use in the studio here. I got this back in 2021. It is the DW Maple Performance Series. It's a very solid kit. They are pricey, but they will last you a long time, and it just can take a beating over and over because they're drums. They're supposed to be beat. So we've got the 24, 12, 16 configuration. I've got sizes that go from 8 to 18 for the toms. So depending on whatever somebody might need in the studio, if they need to deviate from this main setup, they can switch over to something a little bit more complicated. And then right now on the snare stand, I've got the snare that I built. I haven't named it yet, but this is a 14 by 6.5 cast bronze bell brass drum. The hoops and the shell are made from sand cast bronze, and the hardware is all made of brass. It's fully custom, one of one. The thing is sick. Nothing off the shelf was used in the process of making this thing, and it's amazing, and I love it so much. Over in Guitar World, as I like to call it, just a various assortment of amps that I purchased along the way. The first one I bought, which is this orange Micro Dark. I bought this after seeing it on a YouTube studio tour, and I liked it so much. I got one, and I like it a lot. I probably should use it more. But it is a tiny amp that packs a punch. It's got a tube in it. It's got a weird hybrid solid state thing going on. The second amp I bought, which is this Marshall JCM 2000 DSL 100. When I first got it, it was not operational. We kind of nursed it back to health, replaced some parts, and then eventually it did see it full board replacement. So since doing that, this thing's been happy and healthy. That has kind of led to some other acquisitions along the way too. The Marshall JCM 800, a mentor of mine lent this to me for a while, and when he asked for it back, I really didn't want to give it back, so I had to buy it from him. The Marshall cab was an also recent acquisition. This cab pairs with the JCM 900 that you saw when you first walked down here. This is an old 90s model with the old English V30s in it, and this thing rips. Like, I've compared it to a lot of different cabs that I've mic'd up, and honestly, for a long time, I've spent my career working with Mesa cabs, and after miking up this thing with vintage 30s, it has won my heart. I like it so much more than that tone. So I look forward to putting this on much more recordings. I've got some pedals down here, things that have been kind of perma loaned to me, some stuff that we built, some stuff that was gifted from friends. And then we've got this black star that I got from my friend Matt. That is a big spider. Anyway, we use a lot of microphones, of course. We need to record stuff. You know, I've got my various array of microphones. I'm a Telefunken guy. So, of course, most of my microphones are going to be Telefunkens. These M80s and M81s that I have are all great. They just came out with this new line that are even more compact than the old ones, and I like them a lot. So, they tend to make its way onto most of the recordings that I do. I have SE8s. These things I use for direct spot mics. I only got these recently. These things provide a good value for me, and they do the job. Down here, we've got the classics SM57. The kick mic I'm using is the M82. And on the breach record, we had used the Solomon's low frequency sub kick. It has kind of changed my mind and warmed me up to the idea of using sub kicks. Coming from a heavy metal background, you typically stray away from that and opt for samples instead. But in a genre that you have a lot more flexibility to capture a kick drum and have spacing in between your kicks, you can really get some bloom. So I got one of these and I love it. Honestly, it started making its way onto some metal stuff as well. Up here, Atlas stands, nothing special. I've just got some Shure SM81s. I've tried other microphones for overheads, but in this room, the SM81s always win for me. They're so predictable. And honestly, that's the most important thing about gear is it's not like how much you spend on it. It's really what you're familiar with and how you can get it to the sound you want. In the vocal corner, we've got the Bee's Knees Elifet. This is a microphone that my lovely wife, who's behind the camera, had won at NAMM one year. And now I owe her a lot of money because she's been renting it out to me this entire time. So my GoFundMe is in the description for that one. So I keep it in this bag. And now for the room that everybody loves spending time in. And by everyone, I mean me. So this is the control room. This is where I spend most of my time. We'll start with the desk. The desk doesn't have anything too crazy happening. My current speakers of choice are the Amphion 118s, and for secondaries, I'm using the Barefoot Footprint 02s. The Footprint 02s I like because they have this little controller, and the controller lets me kind of switch the sound of the setup. I've just got an array of different compressors. I've got this 1176 that I track most vocals through. This thing is great. I built it myself to learn how these things work, and it's taught me a lot in how to set up some of this gear and maintain it. And just have an overall understanding of how this equipment works. So I've got another one from Lindell, and I've got a vintage Yuri LA4. I've got the Warm Audio 273s. These things are great. As far as main conversion goes, I have the Apollo setup. I've got an Apollo X8, followed up with an Apollo Twin, as well as the X8P. This cascades into a huge Apollo setup. I kind of got to build upon it as I went along and just add more equipment rather than having to spend all the money up front. When you own a recording studio, there's just a lot of equipment that you have to purchase, and being able to kind of scale things up or down as you need to fit your needs rather than having to work around your equipment, that's the way to do it. I've got a Kemper. This was a gift from my lovely wife. I use it for everything. Basically, I track all of my guitars through this. I take the DI out of it through SpeedIF. I also have that running into this guitar tuner. So when you're recording, at any point, you can check your tuning immediately and not have to worry about it. We'll probably get into some of the guitars here. My most recent is this LTD. This is the SN1000. It is an Evertune guitar. It's the main reason I purchased it. It also has Seymour Duncans. I love Seymour Duncan. This is a great all-rounder guitar because the Evertune, it can create some bad habits, but at the same time, it is a workflow hack. You spend a lot more time staying creative rather than having to punch the same thing in a million times because you might have fretted something a little bit too hard or maybe bent something out accidentally. My Schecter Demon 7. This is the only 7-string I own. It's a great guitar. I've upgraded it with the Seymour Duncan Mortal coils. Solid pickups. They give me so many different voices and so much flexibility throughout the sounds. I've collected some other guitars along the way. My two basses that I use the most are this P bass that my friend Brian and I drove through a blizzard to go get in West Virginia. Jazz bass, not a crazy story really behind this one. Brian bought it. He found a better one, so he sold this one to me. This Hello Kitty Stratocaster. It is the Squire reissue from the first time around that they did the reissues. I was on a flight and I got off the flight and I turned my phone back on and my phone was immediately blowing up because this guitar had just landed. So I hit up my Sweetwater rep and like before I even got home, this thing was waiting at the door for me. So I was really happy to get one while they were in stock. Gibson SG, whatever I'm writing, I tend to grab this one first. It is just such a classic sound. I love the finish on it. I think I got this back in 2023 based on the serial number. I've kept it all stock. I mean, most people will start modifying their stuff off the rip. This thing, the only thing I did was change it to the guitar strings that I like, and I just try to keep it maintained and clean. And this thing has been a solid workhorse for me as well. Do I tell the story on this one? This is the one I got from the guy that claimed to have one arm, didn't have one arm. I got this Telecaster, and the guy claimed to have one arm. He had both arms when I went to go pick it up. Congratulations to him. We got my Fender Tele Deluxe. This thing just stays set up in drop C or C standard at all times. It's got really heavy strings to accommodate that. This one right here, I got it from my friend Kyle. It belongs to my wife. Sometimes I borrow it and then it lives down here for a little bit before I remember to take it back up to her. It's got flat wound strings. So the flat wound strings kind of have a very like vintagey vibe to them. I've got my Stratocaster. The Stratocaster is really cool. This has got the Seymour Duncan hyper switch in it, so you can like rewire it using an app on your phone basically and just like change how the voicings are and stuff. And it's very cool for doing that. In the bridge position, I have the Seymour Duncan Scarlet, and then the middle and neck positions are the Corey Wong clean machines. Very, very snappy guitar. I love this thing for doing like really spanky or jangly clean tones. Here I've got my acoustic, solid top. Usually I keep a fresh set of strings on this, but it's been a little while, so not sounding great right now, but it's set up in Open D. So the Mountain Dew Baja Blast bass, multi-scale guy. This thing's sick. The last guitar I have is this 2017 Gibson Melody Maker M2 in Citron Lime finish. I got it. I was with the intention of flipping it, ironically enough, but my wife likes the color so much, so I've kept it. It has a crazy looking neck on the back here. It's got this weird tiger flame thing going on, and honestly, it's been sitting here for so long and been played on for so long that the finish has started to check, and it's got a nice little character to it. So it's kind of become a part of the family, and I don't really think it's going anywhere. Last thing I want to show you in the control room is our photo wall. And whenever people come through, whenever I try to remember at least, we kind of use this to try to tell the story a little bit. People have signed and taken photos and had some hijinks along the way. Honestly, this door should have been more full than it is now, but maybe that'll be an excuse for you to put your photo on the door. I think it's time for you to leave. I got stuff to do. So that'll be it. All right, bye. Bye.